Welcome to the Branding Boardroom, the podcast where we discuss brand strategy and how it should be understood, formulated, and implemented by senior corporate decision makers. Our guests range from prominent CEOs to accomplished academics and thought leaders. But there's so much more. They're also interesting people. Now follow me into the Branding Boardroom. Sophie Bowman is a multi-award-winning social media entrepreneur. She's an accomplished expert in branding, public relations, and marketing. Sophie is a Forbes Council member and the founder of several companies, including Branding and ConvertYourFollowers.com. In addition to her previous accolades, in 2022, she was named Entrepreneur of the Year at the American Business Awards, receiving a Gold Stevie Business Award. Sophie's clients include global superstars such as Grammy Award winner John Legend, as well as established companies such as Saatchi & Saatchi. And it's my great pleasure to welcome today Sophie Bowman. Hi, Sophie. Where are you calling from?
Hi, guys. I'm calling from Miami today.
Well, it's a great pleasure to have you on our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
How did you get to where you are today? What was your early career like, and where did your passion for business come from in the first place?
Then around 6 years ago, I came to Miami, and I think that was the real power move for me. Coming to America, being, European, you have that bonus of knowing a lot of different markets. And luckily for me, having sold all of these different services, I had clients all over the world. So I've been lucky enough to, work with clients in Asia and work with clients US or, from Paris.
What do you think has made you so successful? Do you think that there were perhaps some skills that you learned during your earlier career as a teacher or from some other experiences? Or do you think it's something else perhaps that has brought you this level of success?
Definitely perseverance. I think that's just, a life lesson just for anyone and everyone. You are going to get so many no's, but eventually, as you find your feet and grow your network, once you get that one client, it's kind of like domino effect, So I think for me, I just was never willing to hear the word no. And I guess it kind of gave me the competitive edge by going through all these different industries and doing all these different jobs. So, I wanted to make myself, I guess, now I would use the term recession proof.
How do you do this? How do you get their attention in the first place? How do you get your message opened? How do you select the right influencers? And how do you approach them about a collaboration?
One little trick that I used to use when I was trying to find influencers for a brand is, first off, you want to find influencers that share that niche. So let's say, for example, I'm working with a cosmetic brand, then I only really want to deal with makeup artists and beauty influencers. And sometimes you can go a little outside of that scope if someone's more of a lifestyle influencer but they have a very good local following. And like you said before, the influencers you go for can make or break your brand. Like let's just say with influencers, if you had a luxury brand but then you're using influencers that kind of also promote cheap fashion brand, it's not, everything has to be very concise and a consistent brand tone. And that's why, people like you and I exist, because even though we know branding inside out, it's amazing, how many businesses are still missing out on so many sales and so much opportunity because they don't have a strong social media presence.
What are some strategies that you would perhaps think are useful for our audience in terms of attracting a big following?
For me, I think building a following is, you have to go with authenticity. Like people expect and kind of deserve a lot more from brands now. Like they don't just want fast fashion brand. They want a brand that is thinking about, where the products are made. They want to know, are you helping the environment? Like there's so many different factors that go into it now. Yeah, building a following, you have to create content with who your target consumers are in mind. So that's a really good question. And I think, what I see a lot is an increase of brands using an existing member of staff to handle the marketing, and it doesn't work like that. That's like trying to put a random person off the street into a scientist job and expecting them to, know what to do. You have to be educated in social media, and if your strategy isn't working, you've got to change the strategy. It's like anything else in business. If something's not working, you change the strategy, and if you don't know how, you bring in an expert.
So I think you're perhaps one of the best people in the world to ask this question to. How do we actually convert our followers?
So you want to say on all the social media posts, click this link in bio. That needs to go to a landing page on your website where you're taking their data. To enter the contest, they have to drop their name, their email. If you can get more information from them, even better, like their city, gender, all of this kind of stuff. And what you do by just driving that traffic, you're going to have a database of emails. So once you retarget these, new email users, you can multiply your sales very, very quickly because, obviously with the giveaway, you are going to get some people that are just there for the free stuff, but you're also going to get people that, if you target your ad correctly behind it, you're going to get people that are genuinely interested in your type of business, your type of product or service, whatever it is you sell. So once you have that information and you send them an email, let's say a few days or a week, 2 weeks, whatever later, you say kind of this product you were looking at, it's now 50% off. 9 times out of 10, that person was already interested anyway. So if they see, a big discount or some kind of value, like they're gonna do it. So it's really about just being smart and just offering that value to people, because a lot of times, we see businesses asking for an email on their website. Okay, but why?
But apart from this, or in addition to this, what else can you do to stand out from the crowd, to set yourself apart from the others within your field?
I think one way to really do that is to join forces, collaborate with a cause. Because, right now, a lot of brands are kind of panicking, like we don't have purpose, we don't have a cause. I think for people to separate themselves from the competition, you want to be yourself. Like people are very much right now, they want to see that personal connection. So, you might have noticed we're seeing a big change, and all of a sudden there's all these documentaries about like, get to know the real Jennifer Lopez, or, all of this other stuff, because right now that's trending. If you have a factory that makes products, for example, a fashion brand, then you want to show it being made. So there's a lot of ways that you can separate yourself.
And definitely this is something that can help you also with time zones and with other aspects of global or sort of international, intercultural branding campaigns as well. And picking off on that, you also have to, well, you don't have to, but we end up using hashtags so that we can increase the scope of the people that we're able to reach out to. And this is something that's a quite specific thing in and of itself. So how do you go about maybe selecting hashtags? Are you a fan of hopping onto existing trends and going with the flow, seeing what's trending and using the same hashtag, hoping that you're going to pop into people's news feeds, or perhaps selecting new ones and unique ones and trying to create a new trend that hopefully snowballs and attracts attention? How do you approach the hashtags issue?
I think so the best way with that, we used to have in the old days, when we used to do 30 hashtags on every post, the 10-10-10 rule. So it would be kind of, 10 posts could be really high trending hashtags. Like an example would be post of the day, or what I wore today, or outfit of the day. Ones like those are very generic and they're huge. Then you want to go with some smaller hashtags like, let's say you have a fashion brand in Miami. You want to put hashtags that are very specific, like Miami boutique, Miami style, Miami fashion. Then you want to kind of use some location hashtags like, Miami bloggers, Miami influencers, because you want to attract local talent to be brand ambassadors. Then you want to use, you want to have a branded hashtag ideally, because let's say if, I owned the hashtag like convert your followers, I think a lot of other people are using it. Whereas if I branded that, that way I can keep an eye on user generated content, which is highly valuable.
If you had 1 minute of the time of all of the global CEOs and you could tell them something really important that you'd like them to know or you'd like them to hear, what would your message be for them?
It would be, first things first, don't do anything, repeat anything until your brand is very, very clear on exactly what you do and who you sell to. That is, until you figure that out, you can't do anything else. The second part is whether, you reach out to me or not. You need a contractor, because if you don't bring in a professional to create that strategy, then, you're basing it on assumption rather than science.
Well, thank you very much again, Sophie, for all of these wonderful practical tips. And hopefully the business community and our audience will take note of them to help bring out the best of companies and also to help make society better this way as well. So we look very much forward to welcoming you here next year. And thank you again for being on the Branding Boardroom.